Now, a small drop in Amazon's deforestation rate was measured in July and August this year compared to the same period of 2020. It's a glimmer of good news, but figures are still higher than they were before Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro took office. Many environmentalists blame his policies for further threatening the rainforest's biodiversity of plants and animals. Our correspondent Paulo Cabral traveled to the region to get a first-hand look.
Renato Marques roams the jungle every day in search of copaíba trees. He makes his living from their trunks by extracting the copaíba oil, much valued for its medicinal properties. The process does not permanently damage the tree, but it will need a couple of years before it can produce again, if it's not cut down or burnt before that.
Sim, é problema grave.
It's a serious problem. People are destroying nature and in this process destroying the copaíba trees. It's getting harder and harder to find these trees.
It is from the air that the scale of destruction in the Amazon jungle is most visible. CGTN went on a flyover with a group of environmental organizations surveying this year's devastation. Large forest areas have been illegally cleared here in the south of Amazonas state, using chainsaws to remove the most valuable timber and then fire to clear the area for pastures. In some spots, flames are still active, and environmentalists say prospects are bleak.
It's hard to see any optimism in this government because they dismobilized all the infrastructure that was doing command and control and fiscalization on the ground. So all the incentives are going on the wrong direction and incentivizing the deforestation.
Deforestation and wildfires in Brazil, they mean habitat loss or some kind of disturbance in the habitat of species. And this is one of the main drivers of biodiversity loss. There is a crisis that's like a twin crisis of climate change, which is the biodiversity crisis that is as serious as the climate one.
It is possible to recover deforested areas, but it can be a very difficult and expensive process. Here in this region, hundreds of thousands of native trees are being planted to try and restore the jungle and its biodiversity.
About 360,000 trees, 80 different species, have been planted just the past year in degraded areas of this forest reserve, which is home to about 100 families of gatherers and small farmers. The trees have to be kept for up to 1 year in a greenhouse before they are strong enough to be transplanted to the reforestation areas. The project's coordinator says pasture grasses planted after a forest is burnt are nearly impossible to eradicate and deplete the soil where they grow, adding to the recovery challenge.
Além da gente não saber tudo que a gente tem de biodiversidade.
We don't even have a full knowledge of our biodiversity because it's so rich that we're still far from having a full inventory. So when we deforest, we may be losing things that we didn't even know we had, and that could have potential, for example, to produce medications.
This jungle dweller, who cultivates small-scale manioc crops to feed his family, says he does see the local climate changing.
Mudou muito. Muito mesmo. Porque antigamente...
In the past, in this season, there would be a lot of rain and nights would be cooler. Now it's hot all the time. Some nights I have difficulty sleeping because it's too hot.
Much of Brazil's Amazon jungle and its biodiversity have already given way to crops and cattle. Environmentalists say there is still a lot that can be saved, though with commitment from society and political will from authorities to make it happen. Paulo Cabral, CGTN, Machadinho do Oeste, in the Brazilian Amazon.